All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. In the Mohana to the Elder and Apostle for Gitimiston, who do well. Peace and blessing and salutation to you, Akim, who are pushing this truth to the four winds of the heaven. Be on the forefront of this spiritual war. To make sure Jerusalem is established as a praise here on earth again. So in my today's lesson, I am going to touch on the tension which are going on between the US and Navy and China on a place known as the South China Sea. You see, the South China Sea, and this will be a continuation on the Algorithm of Ww3. You know, here in Great Millstone we have something known as the Algorithm of Ww3, in which we go into different things which involve the said war, which is coming quickly, or you can call it the war of Armageddon, which will be fought over there in the Middle East, or we call it the Valley of Yehoshaphat. You see, so in another language, you can call us divine weather forecast. You see, we are here to tell you that Ww3 is coming quickly, so you need to repent or choose to die. So I will dive into this different clips here. We will watch, then I will bring the scripture out.
Philippine Sea a signal to the PLA that American forces can counter advanced threats, military observers say. Exercise designed to support security and stability in the Indo-Pacific. The U.S. Navy was targeting China with live-fire missile tests in the Philippine Sea last week, sending a message that it was up to the challenge of the PLA's new advanced systems, military analysts said. In the drill in waters east of the Philippines on Thursday, the guided missile destroyer USS Barry launched a medium-range Standard Missile-2, the U.S. 7th Fleet said on its Facebook page. It was accompanied by the guided missile cruiser USS Shiloh, which also launched an SM-2 during the drill. Beijing-based military specialist Zhou Chenming said these kinds of drill were not common and could be seen as a warning to the People's Liberation Army. The U.S. Navy is worried about Chinese missiles, which China could use as a trump card in a military conflict between the two parties in the region. The 7th Fleet wants to warn Beijing that it can intercept missiles from China, Zhou said. Li Jia, another Beijing-based military analyst, agreed that the launches were a message to China and, to a lesser extent, Russia. The U.S. Navy wants to tell China that they can counter the PLA's advanced missiles, Li said. The PLA has developed two kinds of missiles that could pose big threats to the U.S. military, the carrier killer DF-21D and the anti-ship DF-26, which has a 4,000 kilometers, 2,500.
And as a carrier killer is a land-based missile which can be able to shoot an aircraft carrier. You see, so going back all the way to the Cold War, when the American Army designed this aircraft carrier, they literally said it is impossible to sink them. But recently China have developed a land-based missile which can shoot a high-speed moving aircraft carrier, and I have forgotten how many nautical miles for hours they move this US aircraft carrier. You can Google that on your own, but let's continue.
100-mile range and puts the U.S. naval base in Guam within reach. Either one of the missiles might have been put through its paces in June when the PLA rocket force staged missile tests in the disputed South China Sea, according to the Pentagon. The U.S. USS Barry was retrofitted with the latest Aegis combat system 2 years ago, improving its ability to defend bases such as Guam and US warships from the 2 kinds of Chinese missiles. Further US upgrades and tests can be expected as the PLA tries to narrow the hardware, software and training gap with the American military, according to Colin Ko-Sui Lean, a research fellow with the Institute of Defense and Strategic Studies Maritime Security Program in Singapore. Given the shift in defense focus to the Indo-Pacific and with the PLA threat in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. Navy conducted more such live-fire exercises to validate the fleet's capabilities against the evolving PLA missile strength.
So, this is a war game, but they do what you call live-fire exercise. You see, so it is about to get real, man. This drama have continued for so long, man. So since 2000 all the way to 2020, the year of prophecy, we have been hearing about the drama, tensions, rumors of war, region wars, the war between America, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Iraq, Libya, up until now. So one day this drama will be a real movie, man. You see, this drama will apply in real life, man. One day you will see missile flying, man. If you look out of your window, you see a missile flying, and land on your backyard. And that's it, man. It's all a game until shit goes south, man, or shit get real.
Said, adding that the Philippine Sea would be a significant battlefield in any future China-US armed conflict. The missile launches come as the US strengthens military links with Vietnam, the Philippines and other regional allies as part of its Indo-Pacific strategy to curb China's power in the South China Sea. The 7th Fleet said the Barry's live-fire operation was in support of security and stability in the Indo-Pacific. Hong Kong-based military commentator Song Jongping said the drill in the Philippine Sea was meant to strengthen the U.S. military presence in the region, amid fears that the U.S. could be forced out by the PLA. The Philippine Sea is also the critical maritime artery for PLA vessels when they sail to the Western Pacific and Indian Ocean.
So that is known as Dongfeng. Dongfeng 21D. That is the fastest missiles currently. Dongfeng 21. That is there, if I'm not mistaken. I was watching the list of the deadliest and fastest missiles. I think Dongfeng, if it's not the third, the second, or first, and India is top 3, and China, if I'm not mistaken, is the first is France have the fastest missiles, then India, and then China. See, America and Russia. I'm not talking about the deadliest missile. I'm talking about the fastest. See, and things like that. So this Dongfeng, they will be used one day. Like, I was listening to one brother, he was like, I don't think all of this missile will be one day put in a museum so that our grandchildren can learn that our ancestor created these missiles, and that's it, man. So they will be used one day, and it is fast approaching.
Song said. The U.S. Navy needs to further enhance its military presence in the region, signaling that political trust between the two countries is falling.
Don't forget to like our video.
So from there, let's watch another video. It say, high tension April 620. China give Europe a sobering lesson amid tension in South China Sea. So let's watch it.
intense standoffs between China and the US, but some fear that Beijing's ambitions could also come to haunt Europe. China's military actions in the South China Sea are partly aimed at securing economic dominance as the region is a key area for the shipping of goods for countries around the world. But President Xi Jinping has also overseen investments in Europe which have mostly flown under the radar. In 2019, the Financial Times reported how China's invested in Trieste, on the northern Adriatic Sea, and Genoa, Italy's biggest seaport, adding to a growing network of seaports. This also included stakes in the Greek port of Piraeus, run by Chinese shipping giant COSCO. In Israel, China is building 2 ports. It has opened its first naval base overseas in Djibouti in the Horn of Africa, strategically situated in sea lanes between Asia-Europe trade routes. The FT article states how this growing presence in Europe should provide a sobering lesson for Europe. This is because while China's trade can bring opportunities, its actions in the South China Sea prove that it isn't always the friendliest partner. China's 9-line.
So, what does this tell you? At the end of the day, the European nations, in which the European nation are part of NATO, you see, and NATO is a beast. So this will lead to the beast turning their back to the whore of Babylon or America. So all of the chess pieces are coming in place, man. You see, everybody's busy with the coronavirus, but things are happening, yes, man. This prophecy will happen back to back, so everything is moving.
Claim serves as a demarcation for what Beijing believes to be its waters. The South China Sea is hotly contested because of its lucrative shipping lanes, capacity for military strategic advantages, and wealth of natural resources such as oil and minerals. At the center of this disagreement are various island clusters such as the Spratly Islands and the Paracel Islands. China has had particularly tense relations with Vietnam and the Philippines over islands in the region. China's 9-line draws a line around all of these islands, asserts sovereignty over all of them, and makes audacious claims about rights to waters within. However, the Philippines won a case in the Permanent Court of Arbitration invalidating China's claims to almost the entire stretch of sea. China does not recognize the ruling. The tribunal in The Hague found that China had violated sovereign Filipino rights under the United Nations Convention on Laws of the Sea, UNCLOS. This hasn't stopped China from embarking on heavy militarization projects in the Spratly Islands. Described by many as island fortresses, China has engulfed the South China Sea with man-made island bases, and has been accused of forming them specifically for military purposes. The moving of its aircraft carriers, airstrips, and weapons into the region has earned the cluster of bases the nickname, the Great.
You see that line drawn from the South China Sea all the way to the Indian Sea, to the Middle East, in which it is the valley of Yehoshaphat, man. As the Lord will call all nations to the valley of Yehoshaphat to bring his judgment.
Wall of sand. A leaked set of photos given to a Filipino newspaper showed just how elaborate China's development of military bases has been. Some photographs showed cargo ships and supply vessels, which the newspaper said appeared to be delivering construction materials to the China-controlled islands. Others show runways, hangars, control towers, helipads, and radomes, as well as a series of multi-story buildings that China has built on reefs. The UK has challenged this by sending ships on patrols through contested waters, but Beijing remains determined.
Don't forget to like.
So from there, I have another news here. It says like America and Israel, Russia is going all in on a suicide drone. So you have something known as a suicide drone. See. So this is suicide drone are used to do surveillance. And when you watch different movies, how they fight in different war, your enemy can be hiding behind a certain mountain. You send the suicide drone with surveillance camera. You obtain the location, and then you send that drone to detonate a suicide bomb, man. So, like always, man, all of this prelude to something known as the algorithm of Ww3. So when we speak about the algorithm of Web3, we are talking about all important factors which paves the way to something known as Audio 3, or the third war, or the war of Armageddon.
Manned aircraft that are essentially flying artillery shells. Factory testing of the KYB Blau and Lancet weapons have been completed. Alexander Zakharov, chief designer at Zala Aero, told Russian news agency TASS during a Russian defense trade show. Zala Aero is part of famed small arms maker Kalashnikov, which is now delving into drones. The US military doesn't like the term kamikaze drone, preferring to call these weapons loitering munitions. Whatever the name, they are small battlefield drones that are launched by an infantry platoon. Equipped with a camera, the drone can orbit the battlefield while relaying imagery to the troops on the ground. When the troops see a promising target, they can order the drone to dive into the target and...
You see? So that is the future for Audio 3. You just do your surveillance with a drone without being controlled with anybody. We call them suicide drone. You unleash them like what do you call like a swarm of locusts, man. Like how Kathem Soleimani was killed by a drone.
detonate its warhead. It is a technical solution to an age-old problem, how to hit an enemy on the other side of a hill, who is shielded from...
So you can hit your enemy from the other side of the hill, and which is out of reach, out of range, or we call it out of range.
observation or fire by terrain. Artillery, mortars and airstrikes can accomplish this, but arranging these fires takes time. A loitering munition essentially gives infantry their own precision-guided, indirect firepower. While the...
So these are deployed from an infantry. If you have a certain infantry, you deploy this drone to whatever destination you want.
warheads on loitering munitions aren't big. About the power of a grenade, the weapon is ideal for locating and hitting targets, such as enemy mortars, that are screened by terrain. Or, they can fly into windows to take out enemy positions during urban combat. Zakharov described the Lancet as an intelligent multitask...
Yes, so another point is this suicide drone will be used during Jacobo Trouble. As you saw in the movie The Purge. If you haven't watched it, you want to watch it. The first Purge. So let's go and get some shoes. So this is second Ezra's. This is second Ezra's 15 verse 28. It says, "Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east." So this is talking about the nation which are east, the valley of Yehoshaphat. Because when Ezra received this vision, he was over there in the Middle East. It says, "Whereas the nations of the dragon of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be killed as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble." You see, let's go down. Verse 32. "Then this shall be troubled and keep silence, though their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrian shall the enemy besiege them." Besiege through what? Intercontinental ballistic missile and many other weapons, as you saw. Suicide drone, everything from the Dongfeng intercontinental ballistic missile, and the missile which are land based but can shoot an aircraft carrier, and they consume some of them, and in their host shall be fear and dread strife among the king. Behold, the crowd from the east. What is this crowd, man? This is mainly going to the nuclear missiles, but also things like fighter jets and all of that thing, man. And from the north, and that's talking about Russia, and the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. That's why I was telling you, it's all a game until things starting getting real. As you saw in the first video, those were live fire exercise. See? So when the really crash come, it won't be pretty. With 35, they shall smite one upon another, they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star, and the blood shall be from the sword unto the belly, and the dung of many unto the camel. And there shall be great fearfulness, and a tremble upon the earth. They that see the last shall be afraid, and a trembling shall come upon them. So from there, let's go to the book of Joel. There is a book of Joel 3 and verse 2. I will also gather all nations, and I will bring them down to the valley of Yehoshaphat. So as you saw, China, if I'm not mistaken, they are building many aircraft carrier, like 5 or 6 of them, and all of them are being deployed to the Middle East, and China are paving a way to what we call the new Silk Road, which will pass in the South China Sea, Middle East to Europe. See, so all the way lead to the Middle East, man. And I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nation and departed in my land. And they have cast a lot for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. So the Lord is even giving you a reason why he is gathering this nation to the valley of Yehoshaphat. So let's go again. There's a book of let me see if it is Malachi or what. Let's see. There's a book of Malachi 4:1. Say, for behold, the day comes that shall burn as an oven. You see, the scripture telling you there is a day coming. Right now, it's always a game. People are making memes. These TikTok videos, sensational video about Ww3, the plague which are going around, like coronavirus. But one day it will get real. That's why the scripture tell you, for behold, the day come, and all the proud, all that does wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that comes shall burn them up, says the Lord Yahweh host, that shall leave them neither root nor branch. So from there, let's go to day, hour, and a month. So there is a specific day, hour, and month in which the Lord will unleash all hell. All hell will break loose. So this is a book. It's a book of Revelation. Verse chapter 9 and verse 13. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the fourth of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the great river Euphrates is over there in the valley of Yehoshaphat, or you can call it the Middle East. And the four angels were loosened, which were prepared for 1 hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay a said part of men. And that said part of men is Esau, man. Esau Edom. You see, they even giving you the number of horsemen, which are the numbers of missiles which will shoot down Babylon the Great. So I wanted to do a short lesson on the algorithm of Ww3. I hope you brothers were edified. Into the next. Shalom.